In this episode, why your home studio will skyrocket revenue, we're going to answer all of it. FlowChat fam, sales centers out there, we're here for a spotlight. This one is going to be so much freaking fun because we're talking about our home studio like this. You know, what lighting should you have? What backdrop should you have? What mics should you do? All the different things. We're going to cover all the tech. In fact, this is going to be the first episode ever where we're going to have a home studio battle. I'm going to take you on a mobile tour of actually my whole setup here, and you're going to see who's going to win. I'm going to get crushed. You're going to see whose home studio is going to crush mine today and why. It's going to leave you feeling like, what have I been doing? There's easy, free, and really, really cheap things that I can do to immediately boost my sales and revenue with my home studio, and you're going to find out why. And then you're also going to see if, like, man, if for all my peeps that love to just go full in, like you're an all-in type of person, you want to go next level, you're going to be introduced to the person that you've been wanting to know and meet, and his name is Junaid. Junaid, how's it going?
Hey Chris, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man? Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes, I can't wait for if our audience doesn't already know you, they need to. And I'm so pumped from the meeting because you, my friend, are a tech genius. Like he's gonna give us a tour coming up. So like stick around, you're gonna want to see this tour. He's got cameras that like on a slow glide, like zoom it, like he's gonna blow your mind. But first, what I want people to hear, Junaid, is we're talking about always revenue, always relevant. Why does a home studio matter for revenue?
Man, that's a beautiful question because just like your beautiful, nice suit matters when you go to a meeting, think of a home studio as your nice Italian $10,000 suit that as soon as you put on gives you so much confidence that you're like, I can do this. This is easy. Look how good I look, right? So that's what a home studio does for you. It opens up your mind. It's opened up. People start seeing you differently. Like, holy smokes, this guy must be doing something, or must be, there's all that attached specific, the perception. If you look good, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna be able to perform better. Why do you think the entire team, when you're football team or soccer team, whatever, why do they wear such nice shoes and such in sync clothing so they can perform well, so they can be in sync with each other? It just makes so much sense. So as somebody who's in front of the camera, what do you want people to look at? Do you want them to look at you, or do they want to, or do you want them to look at the window that's shining into the camera behind you?
Yes. And I like what you're saying, because it's just true. And even as we're talking, I'm like, damn, Junaid looks good. I mean, the like you, the beard, you're like, dude, you're like dialed in, but like the background, the bokeh effect, the headlight, and I'm like, I've thought about some of this stuff, and everyone listening, watching this right now, like look at me, look at Junaid. You can tell his lighting, like I have lights, but I'm a little like washed out compared to him. Like there's more contrast that he has, and we're gonna get into some more of those details. Anyway, I'm like being self-conscious around my setup, but here's what's important for everyone listening. Everyone, you're like, yes, everyone listening, is there are small, simple, free and cheap things that you could do today just from listening to spending your time with us here today that you're going to be able to take with you that will help improve your persona and in confidence and know, like, and trust that will affect revenue. It has for me. I know it has for others. And what Junaid is saying, I love your analogies. It's just like wearing that suit. Listen, if you're doing high ticket sales and you're asking somebody for $5, $10, $25, $50, $100,000 plus in a sale, and you sound kind of like crackly, or you don't, your internet's kind of blurry going back and forth, and your background is kind of like the lighting's all weird, and what is that? Are you going to be more excited to pay them money or less? But if you're, I'm not saying you need a full-on studio, although if you did, if you're like, damn, this guy looks like $100,000. I get why I'm paying him $100,000. Where's the congruency in the sales process? The people that pay attention to every single detail, right? You go, I like, staying with analogies, Junaid, a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into like a crappy, rundown, dirty floor restaurant and they charge you $100 for a steak,
just walking back out,
you're like, you guys are crazy. It's not congruent. And I think a lot of us, when it comes to our high ticket sales, it's a big part of what we're missing out on. And so, okay, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's start. There's a spectrum. There's a scale here. Okay. If we're just starting out, right? even for me, like I'm just
Mhm.
using my laptop camera. Like we're
Yeah.
just starting out. What are those easy, free, or like really cheap hacks that we can do to level up our home studio?
Well, I talk about 5 main things
Hmm.
to creating remarkable video. Number 1, you gotta have a captivating story. I know I'm like all totally on the opposite end of what you might be expecting my answer to be, right? But
Yeah.
having a captivating story gets you comfortable to when you do have that nice camera, you got
Mhm.
something to say.
Yeah.
Because tell you the truth, 2 years ago, I wanted to create a course. I was like, "All right, I got all this camera gear because I've been, doing films and video for 10 years. I set everything up in my basement. Got my backdrop, I got my lights, my lavalier microphone, all these lights. I turned the camera on. I'm like, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, where do I even start? Like, I had no experience being in front of the camera. I was behind the camera all this time and watching everybody else act and do their stuff. I'm like, that must be easy.
So like you're saying, like content on what to say. But
Right.
that's why you're the perfect person. I want to share you with everyone because listen, you got to go towards Junaid. You're the one that's running your business, and you're the evangelist and the ambassador that's out telling the world, marketing and selling. And Junaid on the tech stuff's kind of like and hard and confusing and expensive and time consuming and this weird time stuff. But he can get you from there to like without pain to looking good, sounding good, and sounding amazing. So for example, like we got to talk about lighting. We got to
Yep.
talk about
Absolutely.
audio. We got to talk about cameras, right? So I want everyone listening, watching today. I want them to get a lot of value, and I want them to do that by their current setup. Let's talk about camera first. So
Yeah.
that's going to be like what cameras they can use, and that can also be about where to position the camera in the room.
Absolutely. So number one thing is number one. So just going back to the 5 points, let me, if you don't
Yeah.
mind me going through them.
Yes.
Okay. So having that captivating story. Well, what is a captivating story? A story that relates, and we have a ton of stories that's gonna relate me with you. I got 3 kids. You've got kids. How crazy is that? That's part of your story. A story that shows transformation. I transformed from having nothing in a studio to building this out, right? So that's your captivating story. Number 2, intentional lighting.
Okay.
Right? What do I mean by intentional lighting? Make sure that you're aware of where the light is dropping. Now, when Chris was setting up his studio, he's like, all right, I've got a window over here, got my door over here. I'm going to make sure this camera is not looking at either one of those ends. I'm going to make sure the camera is looking at something much more. And I love that line in the background that he's got, right? So, intentional lighting because you want to be sure that the camera can see you and you can be seen clearly through that camera lens. So when somebody else on the other side looks at you, they can see you. Number 3, we're still not talking about camera because we were talking about audio. If people can't hear you, they can't hear you. They don't know what your message is about. The AI and Alexa and Siri and Facebook, it cannot automatically generate, what do you call those, captions for you if they can't
Yeah.
hear you, right?
Yeah.
So
Transparent.
audio
Yep.
is so important. It's so important that they did a study where people rated a physicist talking as 19% better when they sounded from high quality audio versus a low quality audio.
Interesting. Interesting.
And they also thought that he was smarter and liked him more. So if you
Perfect.
sound
Okay.
better, because if think about it, right? If the sound is crackly, if there's too much echo, I don't want to hear that sound. It's not
That's true.
pleasing to my
It's true.
right. So you want to invest in that good microphone before you even invest in camera. Why? Because we have some of the best cameras on the planet are smartphones. These
Crazy.
cameras are some of the best cameras on the planet because you can literally use this camera that's on your smartphone as a webcam for your computer, right?
Yep.
So you got your story, you got the lighting, you got the sound, you got your camera, because we can now create content on our smartphones. Get that practice in, guys. Practice, practice, practice. Get your story down. But I'm sure you guys are amazing storytellers because you're in Chris's group. Come on. What am I talking about? I'm preaching to the choir. So having a good camera, good lighting, good audio is gonna get you rolling. I think the last one was personalized background. Chris, there's a
Yeah.
reason why you have a lion in your background. Because you're a lion, you go after things that you want. So that creates the personality. So having a personalized background, I've just got a bunch of I've got Darth Vader and stormtroopers back here. It just shows you, hey, I love Star Wars. So if you start talking about Star Wars because you saw that's in my background, well, we immediately built a bond.
Yeah.
So think about all of those things.
Yeah.
So
So
cameras, we
so
talk about cameras.
so huge. Yeah, and thank you for outlining this. We've got great story. We have lighting that's important. We have audio. We have camera, like having a good camera, and then a personalized background. So this is the part where I'd like to let's start with just lighting in
Okay.
terms of like managing natural light versus like what are some like easy lights that everyone can watching can go purchase.
Absolutely. So lighting, we have the natural light source through our windows. The sun is coming in, but sometimes that sun can be harsh. So what you want to do is add some diffusion in front of it. Well, diffusion means you're just diffusing that light, and the simplest way to do it is grab some of those white sheets, put them up there, and the light that'll come through that diffused sheet is going to be
Like
so
a
much
bed sheet.
softer. Like a bed sheet, yeah. Just grab a bed
Okay.
sheet, put it on top of that window, and stand in front of it, and you'll see immediately how clean and soft that light is.
Hmm.
Because anything that's soft is going to be soft on your eyes, and it's going to accentuate the parts of your face that matter the most, right? So
Okay.
having that soft light just in front of your window is going to make the easiest form of life. Now, of course, if you do want to spend some money to get some lighting, Neowar, and there's a ton of companies out there that make a lighting kit for about $150 to $200. And you can pick up
Nice.
a dual light set that you can control the temperature, you can control the intensity, and just add some diffusion to it. They come with diffusion, but adding additional diffusion just again accentuates and
And can you just talk like anyone just listening to that? Two things really quickly. One is talk about Kelvins and temperature and diffusion, what the difference is, and why and how you can just quickly use that and why it matters.
all right. So the reason we want to diffuse the light is to again uh,
Okay, so
soften that
that's like
light.
intensity. Diffusing can soften it or make it brighter.
Right. So no,
Yeah.
diffusing just means that there's sheets of diffusion paper on front of those lights.
Okay.
And then you can control the intensity on how much more light you want in there. I just picked up a
Okay.
light, and even at 10% is bright. I haven't used it yet because I don't have the umbrella for it. But when you play around, like it's all about playing around with the lights you have. But what's cool is that at least you have a baseline of what
Yeah.
that light should be. So start with a higher Kelvin, let's say 50, 5,000, 4,000, 5,600. That's going to be as natural or white light where we're trying to mimic daylight. Because
Yeah.
if it's yellower or soft white, then you're going to look more yellow, unless your camera can figure out, okay, what's the difference between being a yellow, showing yellow skin versus not.
And so let's do this because
Yeah.
I know you have some really cool lights, and I think we should go on a tour. We should let people in at this point. So
All right.
everyone watching, hey, like, yeah, I mean, we're talking about it is one thing, but showing it and just seeing it is another. So for all our visual learners out there, this part will be really cool. And I think we can even, yeah, I'll let you kind of click buttons, and then I'll make your screen a little bit bigger so people can focus on. Yeah, there we go. And let me see if I can, here, I'm gonna make him the solo layout there so you have a little clearer picture. This is the light this is Junaid set up here.
Yep. So if you look at this light, I see when I was looking directly at it, see how it darkened everything up because it just wanted to focus on light. So imagine you being right here and a light source is behind you. Well, the cameras can't do it. But if I come around over here when the light is not shining in here, you can see everything else much better. So you'll notice
Yeah.
that this light source has a softbox and a grid. The grid helps direct the light directly on my face, and a softbox, again, having that distance, is going to create a much softer light that falls on my face. I do have another light over here. I don't want to directly point at it, but that
Yeah.
light um, just fills in the rest of the shadows. And
Yeah.
then I've got some
Look
lights in
at
my background, right? So I've got LED lights, and I've got another floodlight marked up there, and I have another light up there that's
Yep.
hitting the back of my head.
Like it. I like it. Nice. You got the monitor, another monitor on the right. Okay, cool. So that gives you a little inside track on what's going on with lighting. And okay, cool. In terms of is there other in your mind other helpful, like what's the next step people can take that's a little bit easier, simple with their setup, and then we'll kind of move on to the advanced stuff.
Yep. So lighting is number one. Then you want to get audio dialed in. So I have a microphone that's sitting at my desk, about 6 to 7 inches away from my mount, but it's not showing up in the camera because I want it specifically that way. I want to be sounding really good, but I don't necessarily need to show off how much money I spent on my microphone. I know some people might want to, but
Yeah.
I'm keeping it as away from the shot as possible. Now, this is a $250 microphone. You could probably get it on sale on Black Friday. That's coming down. But it's great for audio, great for podcasting, and if I get really close, I can get really deep volume, deep
And what
bass as well.
microphone is that?
So this is the Shure MV7. It's a USB and XLR microphone. I don't want to spend time on setting up another audio box unit like what do you call it? Your Scarlett Johansson, right? The Scarlett 2.
Yeah, like you need, like if it's XLR, it's
You,
XLR looks like a regular like Rockstar microphone
yep,
connector,
yep,
and then that doesn't fit in the computer, so you got to like
right,
get all this other box and this other
yep,
stuff, so it turns into USB to connect it. But yours,
yeah,
the Shure MV7 has USB, and that's what you're using.
correct, yep. So I just wanted to be as simple as possible. I'm like, okay, what's going to be simpler? What can I tell people? Okay, get this one, and you're set for life, right? So that worked. Now, if you, depending on your style and how you walk around, you might want to you might be moving around. Like for example, when I was moving around away from a microphone, you can't hear me that well. Well, for that, there's other solutions. For example, this is the Rode
Oh
Wireless
snap!
Go, right? So one unit goes on your body, the other unit connects to your computer or your
Mm.
camera, and then you could be mobile and walking around and making sure that you capture
And there's like a
everything on it.
mic that connects. You can like connect to like a
Yes,
wire, like a
yes.
lavalier, so
So it's got a
everyone's getting those.
lavalier connector here, or it has a microphone built in.
So you can just clip that big blocky black,
I can clip it right
right
here.
there.
In fact, I've seen a lot of people do that. And then they're in a workshop, and they can just have the microphone hooked up right there,
They
or
just clip it there.
somewhere there. Yeah,
Or you can
that's
just
it.
get a lav and then have that
Exactly. Yep.
be a little bit leaner and cleaner. Okay. Right on. Okay, so audio, lighting, camera, even the phone, most people are going to have the phone, so you can use that.
Yeah.
And can be an option. Now, I did notice, I think that helps for the easy like get started tips. Okay. Let's have some fun. Everyone
All
listening,
right.
watching this, if you want to go like high end, like, oh my gosh, this is really, really cool. Like let's Junaid, I'll let you show off a little bit. The first thing might not be the first thing you show, but we just saw it earlier. It's your teleprompter.
Yes. You did see my teleprompter, didn't you? Oops.
I did, and I'm like, I feel like I could use that because everyone listening, watching here, if you're doing a presentation, even if it's a sales call and you have a couple slides, if you're talking to investors, if you're talking to high-end clients, when you look into this dot, the green light that looks back at you, it's easier to form more of a connection. but if you're like looking at other screens and it doesn't feel as connected. A teleprompter solves that problem. And I've built, if you're building videos and courses and all, like this is another application. I've done these things. I've gotten feedback. Chris, look into the camera. I'm like, I get it as close to that little friggin' light to the top of my main screen as I can, and
But
I
you
still just
still
not
have
good
a
enough.
little bit of, yeah. So,
People,
and
yeah.
that's a good point that you mentioned, because that's exactly what I was doing when I was going through those 5 key steps, right? So let me switch my camera over
Yes.
so I can show you. See camera. So
Yep.
here is my little PowerPoint presentation that you can see me moving around.
Yeah.
And here's my teleprompter. So my monitor down here, this monitor is it's basically an extended monitor to my computer.
Is that an iPad?
That is not an iPad. It is a
Okay.
dedicated HDMI monitor. So I
Okay.
can bring in Windows from my computer. So watch me move this out of the way.
Okay. So it's just like having a third screen.
It's like having a third screen. Yep. And then what I'm
Okay.
doing is I'm mirroring this monitor on this big ass TV over here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because I can put this TV outside the room and be like, guys, don't bother me. I'm in a meeting. And they get to see what I'm presenting, kind of thing.
Wow. That's a really cool way of doing that.
I am looking to add another monitor over here because, there's this empty space over here. So I just got this monitor that's going to float in mid space over here, so then I can see what's going on. So that's what the teleprompter does. Now, you might be wondering, where's the camera? Well, the camera is right here.
That. Boom.
Here's the camera. It's sitting behind
cool
this little curtain. It's got a little 45-degree angle mirror right here. So the camera can see through the mirror and it sees you, and then it just reflects this because it's got that 45-degree angle.
Does anyone just think this is so cool right now? You can go pro with Junaid and the teleprompter. So what is where'd you get the teleprompter?
You can get them on anywhere. B&H Photo, Adorama, Amazon. Yep, you can get it anywhere. It costs around $500. So the screen plus the teleprompter is around $500, and then you want to get like a HDMI splitter, so the output from your computer goes to an external monitor and this little thing.
Okay.
What's crazy is that I've got a 1 out to 4 splitters. Like, why 4 different monitors? So this is one of the monitors that you saw that's on the teleprompter. The big TV is another one. And then third one is actually my A10 Mini Pro. So let me show you what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you full screen that.
Yep. 1 second.
Yep. So here, number 4 camera is my external monitor on my computer.
Awesome.
And then,
so you basically are looking at, you have multiple cameras, right?
Yes.
And so you can you're obviously switching. If you show some people some transition, different angles.
Exactly. So
and then do you have the one behind you set up too?
I left that one in my wife's car, and
okay, no worries.
She went to work.
Okay. Well, so everyone listening, watching this, he has that third camera that's currently black. It's a shot of his whole setup, and it's on a track. So tell him about the track real quick. This is truly next level. This is like you're in a TV freaking studio, and if you're doing trainings and teachings and you do this move, game over. Like you're better than everyone, easily.
Yeah. So I've got another slider on my camera on the side over here. So let me just connect it to it real quick. And I can show you what that looks like. So you'll notice that the camera is moving in closely, ever so slightly.
Yeah. Yep, I can see it now. We're sneaking up on Junaid.
And it just goes back and forth.
If you can even keep that going, but then switch the view to your phone so we can just actually see the track. Most people might not know what a slider is.
What are you talking about, Junaid?
Yeah, what on earth is this? So here we go. So you can we'll go on a little tour here. That's the slider. It's just a little track like that, and the camera will automatically move up and down in this case, or back and forth on the slider. But you can move that sideways, and the camera could go left to right, and you can get
Yep.
these like really interesting shots.
Yeah, so you'll see this thing is moving backwards. And if you want, I can show you that second slider back here.
Yeah.
So that's a big slider. It's about 42 inches. So
There we
it'll
go.
go back and forth and show you around what's good.
So for example, if you're doing a teaching and you have a whiteboard,
Mm-hmm.
and you switch camera angles and you go to your whiteboard, and the camera's slowly moving in, or it's slowly panning from left to right,
Yeah.
and it coming over your shoulder, it's gonna feel like you're friggin' in the room with you
Yeah,
at
it
the
is.
whiteboard in that moment of epiphany. And look, I know we're talking about advanced, like next level stuff, but look, if you're a high-end coach, consultant, and someone's paying you top dollar,
Yeah.
these are things that they're doing. And this is your competition. You're like, well, I haven't seen as much of that. Yeah, but I have friends that are already doing this stuff,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh man, like I could easily spend another 10 grand on
Yes.
my home studio without blinking, on the computer and the monitors and the lighting and the tracks and the hardware, all the things, and it would be so freaking cool. And there's one other one that we haven't covered yet, Junaid, that I think will also be really helpful for people, and it's the iPad, and it's writing on the screen. Can you write them a little
Yeah, so
message?
because what you were saying earlier, right? You have that secondary camera and then you're looking at you have it, you have that camera rolling as you're writing on the board. Well, sometimes you might not be able to read what's on that whiteboard because you're close to it, but people looking in the camera might not be able to see it. So, what's a better way to do it? Well, we could just write directly on our screens.
Yes, and I got a banner over here, so it's like, if you can see, what we're seeing. What's up? Yeah, so you could draw like, and you could even position it where like he's right in the center, where you could be on the left,
Yeah,
yeah, or
I
the
can
right
just go on
third.
either side and then be like, hey, I'm going to write on this side the formula A
Yeah, like
plus B.
the 5 keys of great video are, one, audio, lighting, camera, right?
Thanks for giving me tips on what the heck I should be writing.
I'm just like making it up with you on the spot here. I
Five
was just like,
keys.
actually, when you're doing these presentations, it'd be great,
Yeah, exactly. Lighting,
right? And
audio.
it's just a way different anchor. Like if you're and well, where's the supply, Chris? Say you're doing a Facebook Live, Chris.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do I do a live like this? And I think actually that's now. See, I'm just spitballing here with you, but
I love that.
as we're talking about it, how do they go live? Oh, you can even resize. What?
I can resize my window, right? Because I am on an iPad, right? So I'm using a green screen.
Oh,
I can resize it to make sure that it fits into what I have access to.
okay. So how do we even do this? Like, I don't even know how to do that.
All right, so there's a few ways. I've got a let me show you what it looks like. So here's my iPad. I'm going to turn off the green screen. I've got a green screen background on an app called Notability. So if I get out of my computer,
Oh,
here's my little screen. Here's my Notability app launching up. And since I've dropped this green colored background to it, I can just tell Ecamm, hey, this is green screen. Take that out and then leave. So sometimes I say, okay, there's a green screen, but it'll replace with something. But I
oh,
can
that's
just
cool.
simply say, hey, can you just make it transparent on the background? And voila,
This
there you have it.
is ridiculous. Mind
Right.
blown. If you're getting value from this, your mind is blown. Say something in the comments. And also, if you're like, I hear what you're saying, Janae, but I have no idea how to do this, or where can people find you?
Well, I'm making a video on how to do this. That's going to go on my YouTube channel, so people can check that out on there as well. And it's also part of my course that is going to be launching in a few weeks on homestudiomastery.com.
Home Studio Mastery. Hey, I'm sharing screen here. Let me let's do this. Here's homestudiomastery.com. Look, there's Junaid switching between setups and camera angles there. Um, get get a consultation with him. Studio transformation. The simple, like, we can now basically, yeah. Oh, this Junaid, the site
Look at
is
my own
from.
setup. Look how crazy it used to
Yes.
be.
Who do you? Hey, this is fun. Everyone listening, watching this. Who do you want a consultation from? This guy or this guy? But I mean, I'm just serious. Like, are you going to get Sandra right here, right? And I
Hmm.
don't know Sandra, but like, say Sandra's selling a high ticket thing or course or whatever, and here's why you should know, like, and trust me, and give me money to go further faster in your journey. Do you want to give this Sandra money or do you want to give this Sandra money?
Yeah.
Okay. And these are simple, like what you're seeing here. Like, look, Junaid is next level, right? We want to have a little bit of inspiration. I like seeing like all the cool, like, I did like, and anytime I do something, I'm like, what, give me the top level,
Hmm.
coolest, all the no hold back, no restrictions, limited. I like to think that way. Okay. But then there's the, okay, well, what's our journey in going that direction? Sandra obviously doesn't have that whole setup, but she's got some lower thirds in here. She dramatically changed her lighting with just where she's sitting in her room. She considered her backdrop. This is like noisy and cluttery. This is clean and inviting. These are simple things that Junaid, that, like, this isn't our area of expertise, but it's Junaid. So anyway, this is costing you money. Look at this virtual room layout. This is such a great idea to do this, Junaid. Like, then you can see what your setup is. This is so good. I'm so glad you like. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You, like, before you have to like move furniture or like go through a headache, because come on, like we're cleaning our garage out right now. It's
Hmm.
just moving or clean, like, they're just massive projects.
Yeah.
How about you just picture what you want before you start doing anything, and it goes literally 10 times faster. So
Yes.
I know I'm pushing Junaid really hard right now, but we obviously, he's talked through some of this stuff with me, and he's the real deal. Like, look at this Iron Man setup here. Like, we're in the lab of Iron Man here, and he makes it easy and painless. He'll give you all of the answer and tech and the best deal, and you don't have to think. So, and that's ultimately what we care about. What we care about is connecting with our prospects and buyers and getting them the result. This just improves their experience of getting that. They'll listen to us, they'll hear us, they'll see us more effectively, and they'll be more engaged.
Yeah.
Um, so I've personally started adapting some of these things as well, in the trainings that I'm doing. Like, I do live trainings, I do recorded courses, I constantly doing lives.
Hmm.
We're here together,
Yeah.
and I've been using StreamYard, but I've seen the light and probably going to be going to Ecamm. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit too, Junaid.
Yeah.
So
So the way I was able to share that writing on the screen through StreamYard was because I'm using a virtual cam through Ecamm. So Ecamm is a software where I can, and that's where I was able to quickly switch from one camera to the other. So if I'm on this camera, I can say, "Hey, I want to go to this camera," and I can quickly switch the camera view. Drop my bottle over there. Quickly switch the camera view because I've got a ton of cameras, not only within the A10 Mini, but I can bring in 5 or up to 4 virtual cameras into Ecamm. You want to see my overhead camera?
yeah, heck yeah.
So it's already wired in. I just have to fire it up, and as soon as it's fired up, Ecamm's going to detect that camera and be like, "I'm coming on.
And
I'm
this is
coming
all
on."
like Bluetooth? Is the wireless network?
So
Wi-Fi?
some cameras are over Wi-Fi, other cameras are connected directly
Okay,
uh,
wire.
to the wire. So for example, the iPad is showing up as a camera on here as well. Let's see if QVC
Okay.
wants to launch up. So Like this is my iPad, right? So I can
Yes.
get out of here. I can go back into the app. That was my iPad. Because it has a green screen, it's just showing me black screen. But if I turn off that iPad, right? So now that's my green screen. But when I put it all together, I have the camera turned off. But if I turn that camera on again, here you see it, my iPad screen coming on as an overlay on top of my camera.
Yeah. So cool.
And the overhead camera
It's
is
okay if it doesn't work right
still,
now.
yeah, it's fine. Anyways, so many different ways to bring connection and teaching to your audience, because hey, you want to make sure that you are telling that story and you're backing it up with work and transformation that you've done in your life, in your studio, in your space. It just adds that next level personality.
I love it. Junaid, thank you so much for spending time with the audience today, giving them a little taste of what's possible on the Spotlight. That's what we focus on: real people solving real problems and getting real results in the marketplace today. Like cutting through all the BS. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And so this is a way that you can connect and engage your audience to actually grab their attention and drive real impact. So, Junaid, any last words you want to share?
No, man, thank you so much for the opportunity. Again, my first thing that I tell everybody, just get started. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get comfortable, to being able to talk or speak or be in front of cameras. And my entire journey started because, hey, I just wanted to document my beekeeping journey. So I just started talking to myself in my car out hours on hours. So yeah, just get started and you will be ready when you get there.
I love it. And homestudiomastery.com is a great place to get started. Reaching out to Junaid and connecting with him he's a fantastic resource to get the answers you need and the counsel and direction that you need for this. So hey, also Sales Center FlowChat fam, thank you for watching the Spotlight series. We're going to keep bringing real people bringing real results each and every week, and we'll see you on the next one.